Hey, Wobble Gang. I do hope you are doing great. My name is Ollie. Hit that subscribe button if you love a good Reddit story. All right, let's get into our first story of the day. The first story comes from a throwaway account in the relationship advice subreddit, and it says, My 32 female, husband 36 male, staged an intervention after I told him I wanted a divorce. I, a 32-year-old female, have been married to my husband, a 36-year-old male, for 6 years. It's my first serious relationship. I love him. He's funny, charming, and intelligent, and we share a lot. But he has always been a little hot-headed. Some context first. A few months ago, a situation at work went badly, and I fell into burnout. I'm autistic, and the burnout has made my executive dysfunction much worse. I've been on sick leave ever since. I have very little energy. Even basic things leave me exhausted. I sleep a lot, socialize very little, and skip meals. I know it's bad, but I am doing my best. My husband has been very frustrated that I'm not respecting his needs. We don't have intimate relations. I don't cook every day, and the house isn't as tidy as he'd like. Multiple times, I didn't take care of things while he was at work, so he yelled at me. At other times, I made him ignore me for hours. I tried to explain that I was struggling too much, and he replied that I was using my situation and exaggerating my symptoms for attention. I tried to push myself to meet his needs and keep up with the house, but every time I quickly got too tired and had to stop. I tried to tell him, but he said he didn't want to hear it because he has enough on his plate. I never know if I'm going to make him angry. I have been crying almost every day, and I don't know if it's the burnout or if it's because I can't be there for him. I felt like it would be better for both of us to take a break. He refused and said that as his wife, it was my legal duty to be there in sickness and in health. 2 weeks ago, I finally told him I wanted a divorce. He had a meltdown and yelled for hours, saying I was just confused because of my mental health. He apologized later and said I shouldn't act irrationally like that. I hesitated for a few days and told him I still wanted to leave, and he had another meltdown. Yesterday, I woke up and went downstairs to find my husband, his parents, and my parents all waiting for me. They said they were extremely worried, that they never get news except from my husband. He reported to them he was scared for me because I was isolating and harming myself. They told me it was okay to need help, that I needed stability. They said they were all there for me, no matter what. I cried the entire time. I felt cornered, humiliated, and defensive. I felt like that was not normal, but now I don't know what to think. After they left, he said he contacted my general practitioner and psychologist to let them know how bad it is, and booked an appointment with a psychiatrist on my behalf. He said they all care about me and want to help me be myself again. Part of me still wants to leave, but another part of me wonders if they're right. I still love him, and I'm definitely not at my most stable right now. I am in the fog. To be honest, I feel really selfish and guilty about all of this. I am completely overwhelmed. Could you guys give me an outside perspective on this? Thanks a lot. Edit. Thanks everyone. So many replies. I am grateful. I can't answer everyone right now, but I can give a few thoughts and information. I see my general practitioner every 2 weeks. I was on Cipralex, but we had to stop because of side effects. Now we are trying mirtazapine. I'd already seen a therapist a few years ago, and my husband called her and my general practitioner yesterday to tell them I needed help, before booking the appointment with the psychiatrist he found. I'll go to the appointments and give them my perspective. I have an okay relationship with my parents. They see me as fragile and don't always understand the autism. I think I will try to talk with them about what was going on and ask if I can stay with them temporarily and get better before deciding on the divorce. I'll rest for now. This is a lot to take in. Thanks, everyone. Let me tell you something. This story is a real emotional roller coaster. I mean, where do we even begin? We've got a husband who decides, let's call in the cavalry because his wife isn't fulfilling her so-called wifely duties during a bloody burnout. Honestly, are you kidding me? This woman is clearly struggling. She's on sick leave, trying her absolute best to manage her burnout, and what does she get? A family-staged intervention to remind her of her shortcomings. It's just, I don't even know anymore. And then to contact her GP and book a psychiatric appointment on her behalf. That's an invasion of privacy if I ever saw one. It's like, dude, if you want to help her, maybe start by showing some empathy. What gets me is the audacity of this man and the nerve to bring the whole family into what is really a personal issue. There's just so much pressure and no real support here. Completely overwhelming for anyone, let alone someone in her situation. I know I'm not the only one losing it right now, right? Let's talk about who really needs the intervention here. Drop your thoughts below because, seriously, this is one for the books. OP, if you're listening, take all the time you need. Seek out the help on your terms, with empathy, not pressure. You deserve peace, stability, and understanding. If OP survives this, she deserves a medal.
A Reddit user says, "He sounds like he's terrible. My husband has been very frustrated that I'm not respecting his needs. We don't have intimacy, I don't cook every day, and the house isn't as tidy as he'd like. Those, aren't needs. Someone can want a domestic partner, but it isn't a necessity. Sure, every adult should contribute to household chores, but you have a valid reason. If he truly cared, he would have been empathetic, not demanded intimacy for goodness sake, and been helping encourage you to get help. Coercion isn't consent. 2 weeks ago, I finally told him I wanted a divorce. He had a meltdown and he yelled for hours, saying I was just confused because of my mental health. He apologized later and said I shouldn't act irrationally like that. I hesitated for a few days and I told him I still wanted to leave, and he had another meltdown. Big red flag for abuse. This is extremely manipulative and very controlling of him. See the psychiatrist, sure, but if the psychiatrist tends to pressure you towards a certain choice, find a new one. I'm sorry you're experiencing burnout and likely depression. Definitely focus on what's best for your mental health and long-term happiness." Someone says, "Just talk to a psychiatrist, then decide. They can help you more than Reddit." Someone says, "He is abusive and manipulative. You work and yet you're expected to cook and clean to his standards? He treats you like a servant from whom he also expects intimacy on demand. He has manipulated your parents and his parents to believe he's in the right. This is a toxic marriage. It also seems that you would benefit from some mental health support. If you're experiencing burnout and not coping well, seeing someone about it is a good idea. That does not give your husband the right to stage a manipulative intervention. It does not give your family the right to infantilize and isolate you. It does not make you wrong. You were strong enough to decide to leave, and you should probably still do so. But seek some professional help first, so that you're stronger and better equipped to make the decision. Don't think about your husband or your marriage. Focus solely on getting yourself stronger, and then no one can bully or manipulate you again."
Shane Babby, 37, says, "My ex-husband did this. I was sick and had to have 2 minor surgeries. It had to do with my reproductive organs, so intimacy was not possible. He became abusive. I left. He called the police and said I was missing for a week, and they picked me up and took me to a mental health facility. My parents believed him. He is now my ex-husband. I'm not in contact with my parents, and I'm married to a man who understands my mental health, PTSD and BPD from my parents and ex, and picks up the slack when I just can't function. Leave him, original poster. You deserve better."
Annie Catgirl says,
I mean, yes, a psychologist is a very good idea. I fully support it. But just make sure they haven't been biased by a 30-minute conversation with your husband, because you need to be able to safely relay his behavior to them as well. Your husband's behavior is very concerning. The whole in sickness and in health is about him caring for you when you are sick. Hence, you caring for him when he is sick too. It does not mean, hey, you have to be fine and do all the things for me, even though your mental health is messed up, because marriage. This should be a time where he is taking care of you somewhat. Besides, if you were both working full-time, house care should have been split equally anyway. Yes, it'd be ideal if you picked up some stuff since you've been home, but not while your mental space is so messed up. The fact that he has the audacity to bring up intimacy right now. Please seek professional help, even if it is not the person he chose, and bring up all of the things bothering you. Internet hugs if you want them.
A little over a month later, the OP returns with an update and says, "He got better. He sincerely apologized, and I tried to fix my state the best I could."
We agreed on some ground rules and minimum things I should do every day to keep intimacy alive. We agreed I could keep seeing my therapist, but I have to focus only on my issues. But it's hard because she keeps bringing my husband up. I've also had the first appointment with the psychiatrist. No assessment yet. I want answers. There were a few days where I made enough efforts and we had sweet and joyful moments together again. But I still anger my husband often. I think he's losing patience and I feel terrible every day, and I want it to stop. I think about leaving all the time instead of working it through. I had an episode where I apparently passed out, and he took care of me. He was sweet. I know he informed our parents and friends, and they contacted me to say they were there for us. We had a lot of heartfelt discussions about what happened. He hugged me and kissed me, and said he loved me, and broke into tears because I scared him. He needed to be reassured, so we agreed on checking on each other regularly throughout the day until we find a more permanent solution. But now I have panic attacks and I am scared to tell him. Man, I'm actually speechless. Here we are, this couple trying to patch things up, and you'd think, with all the therapy and ground rules, they'd find some bloody peace, right? But oh no, it's like they're stuck in this emotional merry-go-round of doom. The husband seems sincere enough, apologizing and showing care. But then, what do we have? The poor woman is still spiraling in anxiety and fearful of telling her husband about panic attacks. It's like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Honestly, it sounds exhausting, doesn't it? And the worst part is, it feels like both of them are just hitting a wall. I mean, she's making efforts, genuine ones, but his patience is wearing thin, and she's drowning in a storm of self-doubt and fear. What a mess. Tell me I'm crazy, but that's absolutely heartbreaking. Drop your thoughts below, because I'm in dire need of a proper discussion here. A month later, the OP comes with an update and says, so he found out about the panic attacks, he had the worst anger outburst he ever had, he lost control, and I thought I wouldn't make it. I hurt him during one of my panic attacks. He was horrified and later said it was clear I was too unstable and that we would look into having me committed. It felt wrong, but I kept deteriorating, and at some point, I remember vividly thinking about all the things my therapist, psychiatrist, and people on Reddit said. I recall getting physically sick, throwing up, and panicking, which prompted me to get help. I can't say what and how, but it was insanely hard and stressful. I changed my mind and wanted to give up multiple times, but I pushed through. It took me everything I had left, and I had to follow instructions like a child, but I did it. I didn't tell anyone. I have frequent nightmares and I switch between intense emotions, panic attacks, and feeling disconnected from everything. But still, I felt like I was allowed to feel for the first time in years. I am mentally and physically exhausted from all these changes. The people who are helping me are sweet and helpful, but I don't know if I can totally trust them. I feel alone and scared, and I miss home. There are days when I want to go back, but they don't judge me, and they're never mad at me or scream at me. It's weird, but I still feel horrible for putting my husband through this. I'm sorry for what I did, I miss him, and I regret not breaking up with him like a normal person. But I also feel bad for ghosting my close ones and not updating them. I hope they can all forgive me someday. And I'm sorry for not listening sooner.
Someone says, I sincerely hope you're somewhere safe, away from him. Nothing in your story, the way you described it, sounded like more than burnout and depression until your husband exacerbated your mental health, full gaslight movie style. Please stay safe and trust your gut. Lethalia says, the person I left was my mother. I felt much the same as you do now, but you have to remember that you are worth it. You deserve a safe space. You deserve people who love you. Being stressed and neurodivergent with a partner who is abusive isn't a reason for him to have you committed. Checking up all the time is controlling. Getting your family, doctors, and therapists involved is manipulative. It does get better. You're getting away from him, and eventually you'll get a divorce, a new place to live, and new friends who become your new family. You have a whole life to enjoy. Keep us updated, please, even if it's just I'm alive and safe.
Almost 2 months later, the OP returns with an update and shares, sometimes I think I overreacted.
I want to go back home, but I am too weak. I am crashing. I can't do it. We celebrated Christmas together every year, and I'm not going to be there. The staff here said it's not my fault, but it is. They forbid me to contact anyone from my social circle. I don't know what to think of them. I'm still scared all the time. I'm on edge and the anxiety is unbearable. They convinced me to apply for a restraining order. I didn't want to at first. I didn't want to be a bad person and punish my husband more, but they said I was not, and it was for my own protection. There is so much paperwork. I don't have the energy. They got me a new psychologist and a new psychiatrist who said they want me to feel safe. I tried the group therapy sessions too, but it's too many people. It's too much for me. I also have a caseworker. I had a meltdown in front of her, and I thought I angered her and I apologized, but she didn't. She was patient and asked me if I needed space and helped me to calm down. Let me tell you something. This story is just gut-wrenching. Seriously, the weight that this person is carrying is something none of us should have to bear. And yet, life throws these challenges at people, huh? It's painful to watch someone feel like they're responsible for circumstances that clearly aren't their fault. But it doesn't stop there. You've got these feelings of crashing down, missing holidays, and the anxiety that just grips you by the throat. And can we talk about the system for a minute? All that paperwork for a restraining order. You'd think they'd make it easier for someone trying to protect themselves, right? But no, we pile on the stress with more forms. It all feels a bit absurd. Honestly, you've got to admire how they're trying different avenues for mental health support, but still, crowded group therapy sounds like a bloody lot on top of everything else. If you're listening to this, you know the raw struggle here. It's intense, and yet there's a flicker of hope with a caseworker that's patient and helpful. If this person survives this, they deserve a medal. Drop your thoughts below. This is a rough ride. Our last story comes from Keep Burp in the Am I the Asshole subreddit, and it says, Am I the a-hole for exposing my uncle's affair at a family gathering after he publicly scolded me about marriage? I, 26 female, did something really stupid at a family gathering yesterday. To preface, a few years ago, I found out that my uncle, my dad's brother, cheated on his wife with my mother. My uncle has 2 kids, 22 male and 18 female. Finding out about this whole incident really ruined my relationship with my parents and my family as a whole. I'm obviously pissed at my mum for doing what she did, and I've also kind of been resentful of my dad for choosing to stay in a relationship with a cheater. But my parents, especially my dad, asked me not to say anything to anyone, especially my cousins, because it wasn't my place to ruin the relationship they had with their dad. I respected this because my cousins are really close with my uncle, but because I've been bottling this up for so long, I've been pretty angry. I don't really speak with my mum anymore, and I also don't really talk to my uncle for risking the well-being of not only his family, but mine as well. Because of our culture, however, my parents like to maintain appearances, so we occasionally have to have gatherings with our other family friends. I don't live at home anymore, and I try my best not to attend these. But recently, it was to celebrate my cousin's acceptance into a tough master's program, and I wanted to celebrate him, so I attended. It was the first time a lot of my family and family friends were seeing me in months. In my culture, women my age are already getting ready to get arranged married, but I'm pretty against this whole idea, because I just haven't found someone I want to marry yet. But my parents and a lot of my family friends are adamant about finding matches for me. A lot of my family friends at our gathering, including my uncle, kept probing and asking me when I would get married and why I'm so against the idea. I told them I currently want to focus on my job, and once I feel financially stable enough and find someone that I like, then I will consider it. Because of this, my uncle decided that it was a good idea to publicly lecture me, and he went on for almost 10 minutes about being a respectable person in our culture, maintaining our reputation, and what being an unmarried woman at my age says about my character. A lot of my family friends were quiet, and no one stopped him. I felt really embarrassed and humiliated, and it felt like all of the resentment that I had been bottling up for the last few years kind of just bubbled up. In the heat of the moment, I said something along the lines of not wanting to hear about morals, reputation, and being a respectable person from a man who cheated on his wife with his brother's wife. My parents immediately started yelling at me. My uncle and aunt, who also know by the way, looked really embarrassed, and my cousins were pale in the face. My younger cousin started to cry. My parents and I ended up leaving the gathering almost immediately after.
Ever since this incident, my cousins haven't been speaking to me or returning any of my calls. And while I understand, I feel so guilty for exposing this secret to them. It felt like it wasn't my place or the right time to expose this. My dad is also extremely mad at me, and he says that I betrayed his trust. My uncle and aunt obviously aren't speaking to me, but my uncle has sent a string of hurtful messages to my dad about how I was never taught to hold my tongue as a woman and blah, blah, blah.
I feel really bad about hurting my cousins because of how close they are with their dad, even though I feel like he doesn't deserve it. A part of me, however, also kind of feels relieved that I exposed my uncle for the terrible person he is. I just don't really know how to feel. So, am I the asshole for exposing my uncle because the truth hurts people that don't deserve it?
Someone says, not the a-hole. I'd ask my parents why they didn't step in during this lecture. I'd say the promise to not say anything for your dad was conditional upon you being respected and supported.
Oh my, this is a bloody mess, isn't it? I can't even deal with the self-righteousness of some people. This poor individual was backed into a corner, humiliated by someone who is literally the last person on earth who should be lecturing anyone about morals. I mean, talk about the pot calling the kettle black, the sheer cheek. And now all this drama with the family, the strings of hurtful messages. It's like a damn soap opera. Life can undoubtedly be a circus sometimes, and boy, do I feel for this person. Now listen up, folks. If you've been captivated by this whirlwind of family drama and enjoyed the insight into yet another baffling Reddit story, then why not give the video a thumbs up? Your support genuinely makes all this madness worthwhile. And before you go sprinting to the comments section to let out your thoughts, as I'm sure you have plenty, do ensure you've subscribed. There's plenty more juicy stories and feisty rants coming your way. You won't want to miss it. Until next time, cheers.